If you're over 60 and something's been quietly slipping, your energy, your drive, that spark down there, you're not alone. Maybe you've noticed your energy fading. Maybe you've stopped waking up with that same spark. Maybe you've quietly told yourself, it's just age. But what if I told you it isn't? What if something as simple as a piece of fruit, one that most men walk past in the grocery store, could help you feel more alive, more energized, and more confident down there? Not a pill, not a prescription, just something that's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to rediscover it. And what's more, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist uncovered exactly how this fruit protects the very molecule your blood vessels depend on. Curious? You should be, because this story might just change how you start your mornings and how you feel by the time the sun sets. Imagine yourself in the produce aisle, walking past rows of apples, oranges, bananas, and then you see it, a deep red fruit, heavy in the hand, a little mysterious, and often ignored. You might have thought it's too messy, too expensive, or just too much trouble. But that very fruit, pomegranate, is one of the most powerful natural tools for restoring blood flow, especially where it matters most. Not only is it backed by real science, it's been quietly changing lives for men over 60 who once thought their best years were behind them. Let's get real for a moment. By the time you reach 60, your body is producing about half the amount of nitric oxide it did when you were 20. That's not some minor shift. That's a biological slowdown that affects nearly everything. Nitric oxide is like a traffic light for your blood vessels. It signals them to open up, to allow oxygen-rich blood to flow smoothly to your brain, your heart, your muscles, and yes, your most intimate areas. When nitric oxide breaks down, circulation gets sluggish. And when circulation slows, so does everything else: stamina, sensation, responsiveness. But here's the good news. Your body hasn't stopped making nitric oxide completely. It's just struggling to hold on to it. That's where pomegranate steps in. In the 1990s, Dr. Luis Ignarro, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, discovered nitric oxide's essential role in cardiovascular health. But he didn't stop there. He began searching for natural ways to preserve it. His research led him to a shocking conclusion. Pomegranate juice was 10 times more effective than blueberry juice in protecting nitric oxide from being destroyed by harmful free radicals. That's not a small difference. That's a complete game changer. Why is pomegranate so powerful? It contains two key compounds, L-glutanins and punicalagins. You don't need to remember those names. Just think of them as tiny bodyguards. When your body produces nitric oxide, these compounds protect it like armor, shielding it from oxidative stress, the silent damage that increases with age. Imagine trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much water you pour in, it keeps draining out. That's your body on aging nitric oxide. But pomegranate, it patches the holes. Now, here's where it gets personal. In one study on men struggling with erectile dysfunction, 47% reported noticeable improvement after drinking pomegranate juice for just 4 weeks. These weren't men in their 30s. These were men in their 60s and 70s. Men who had quietly accepted that their time had passed. Men who believed intimacy was behind them. But their bodies hadn't given up. They were just waiting for the right support. Most men assume they'll need medications, or that decline is simply part of getting older. But what if I told you the real answer doesn't come in a pill bottle, but in your local produce aisle? And that support doesn't come in a capsule, it comes in a glass. Specifically, 8 ounces of pure 100% pomegranate juice each day. Not pomegranate cocktail, not flavored water. Look at the label. If it says apple juice, grape juice, or blend, put it back. You want the real thing. And timing matters too. The best time to drink it? About 30 to 60 minutes before physical activity. That might be a walk with your wife, some yard work, or your morning gym session. Why? Because within 30 minutes of drinking it, those protective compounds begin rising in your bloodstream. Within 2 hours, they reach their peak. And the more consistently you drink it, the stronger the effect. Think of it like compound interest, but for your arteries. You might be wondering, but Dr. Kapoor, isn't pomegranate juice expensive? And sure, a high-quality bottle costs around $6 to $8, but each bottle gives you 4 servings. That's $1.50 to $2 per day. Compare that to ED medications, $15 to $20 per pill, or heart medications, up to $300 per month. Suddenly, that bottle of juice feels like a smart investment, not just in your intimacy, but in your overall vitality. And let's not forget the hidden cost of doing nothing. A single heart attack can cost over $5,000. A bypass surgery, over $1,000. And that doesn't even touch the emotional cost, the cost of missing out on years with your family, your partner, your joy. So yes, pomegranate juice might cost a little, but in the long run, what it gives back is priceless. Now let's talk about how to make this a sustainable habit, something you can actually stick with every day. First, buy smart. Look for pomegranate juice in larger containers when it's on sale and store it in the fridge properly. The beneficial compounds in it are stable for weeks when kept cold. Another great option? Frozen pomegranate juice concentrate. Often more affordable, just as potent, and easier to portion out. And for those who prefer a more hands-on approach, buy the whole fruit. Especially during its peak season from October to February, fresh pomegranates are not only cheaper, but loaded with those same powerful compounds. One large pomegranate contains roughly the same amount of active nutrients as 6 to 8 ounces of juice. Scoop out the seeds and eat them straight. Mix them with yogurt, sprinkle them over oatmeal, or toss them in a smoothie. It doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to be consistent. In fact, consistency is everything. Here's a simple morning routine I often recommend to my clients. Start your day with a glass of water. Then, about an hour after breakfast, drink 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice. This timing supports optimal absorption and avoids potential stomach irritation. If you're planning any physical activity later, an afternoon walk, yard work, or even just some time spent being close to your partner, have another small glass about an hour before. That's when the compounds are at their peak and your blood vessels are most responsive. Not a fan of the taste? That's okay. Pomegranate juice can be a little tart for some. Try mixing it with a splash of tart cherry juice or a squeeze of lemon. You won't lose any of the benefits, and the added flavors might actually enhance the experience. Some men also dilute it with a little water to mellow the intensity. Again, totally fine. Just make sure you're still getting your full 8 ounces a day. Now you might be wondering how long until you start to feel a difference. The first week, many men report more energy. They feel less winded on the stairs, less fatigued in the afternoon. It's subtle, but it's there. A quiet return of stamina, a gentle lift in mood, a sense that the body is waking up again. By week 2, sleep tends to improve. You may notice deeper rest, fewer nighttime wake-ups, and a more refreshed feeling in the morning. This isn't just coincidence. Better circulation supports brain health and oxygen flow, critical for deep restorative sleep. You may even find yourself sharper during the day, less foggy, more alert, more you. And then comes week 4. That's when the more personal benefits tend to show up. The ones you thought were gone for good. Erectile function begins to improve, not just in terms of firmness, but in responsiveness. The moment doesn't pass you by anymore. You feel present, engaged, alive. Blood pressure often begins to normalize as well, especially in men who've been tracking it at home. And if you've been listening so far and something in you is nodding, go ahead and type 1 in the comments. I read every message, and your voice helps other men, just like you, find this video. At the 8-week mark, the effects become more stable, more noticeable, and often more permanent. This is when your cardiovascular system isn't just supported, it's actively healing. Damage that's been building for years, even decades, finally starts to reverse. You're not just feeling better, you're becoming better. I've had men tell me, with tears in their eyes, "Dr. Kapoor, I feel like I've turned the clock back 10 years. Not because they're chasing youth, but because they finally feel like themselves again." But before we go further, I need to tell you something important. Pomegranate juice isn't magic. It's powerful, but it works best when it's part of a bigger picture. If you're still eating processed foods, skipping sleep, and avoiding movement, then don't expect a miracle from a single glass of juice. Health is a conversation between many systems, and pomegranate is just one of the most effective ways to start that conversation. Let's talk diet. The Mediterranean diet, for example, is naturally rich in fruits like pomegranate, leafy greens, healthy fats like olive oil, fish, and nuts. And studies show it can reduce cardiovascular events by up to 30%. That's massive. Even better, it pairs perfectly with pomegranate juice. One enhances the other. One supports the other. Together, they restore a foundation most men don't even realize they've lost. And then there's exercise. Regular physical activity doesn't just keep your heart healthy, it actually amplifies the effects of pomegranate juice. Why? Because movement increases nitric oxide production. And when you've already got those protective compounds in your system from the juice, your body responds even more effectively. Think of it like tuning up an engine that's finally getting the fuel it needs. You walk farther, you breathe easier, you recover faster. That's synergy in motion. And let's not forget sleep. Poor sleep doubles your risk of heart disease. It disrupts hormones. It slows your metabolism. And worst of all, it sabotages your body's ability to produce and use nitric oxide. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Many men find that as their circulation improves, their sleep naturally improves too. It's a feedback loop. Better blood flow equals better rest, and better rest means better hormone balance, muscle repair, and mental clarity. Here's something most men don't know. By the time you reach your 60s, roughly 1/3 of men experience some degree of erectile dysfunction. By 75, over half. But let me be very clear, this is not inevitable. This is not just aging, this is circulatory dysfunction. And the good news, circulatory dysfunction is reversible. Naturally, safely, without shame. Let's make this practical. If you're ready to start, here's your shopping list and what to look out for. When buying pomegranate juice, check the refrigerated section first. Brands like Palm Wonderful, Lakewood, or R.W. Knudsen often offer high-quality 100% juice without added sugars or unnecessary blends. If the label says juice cocktail or lists apple juice as the first ingredient, put it back. You're looking for one thing only, pure pomegranate. Prefer the whole fruit? Pick pomegranates that feel heavy for their size. That means they're full of juice. Their skin should be taut and slightly glossy, with no major soft spots or blemishes. Stored properly, whole pomegranates can last up to 2 months in the refrigerator, making them not only powerful, but practical. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I'll drink the juice, I'll eat the fruit, but will this really change anything for me? Let me tell you about a man named Harold. He was 67 when we first met, a retired engineer, quiet, analytical. He came in not for anything dramatic, just fatigue, a lack of motivation, and a growing sense that something was missing. He'd stopped initiating intimacy. His wife had noticed. He wasn't in pain, just dulled, like a radio that used to play music and now only buzzed quietly in the background. We started small, just 8 ounces of pomegranate juice each morning. Nothing else changed at first. 2 weeks in, Harold said he felt less tired climbing stairs. 4 weeks in, his blood pressure dropped slightly. By 6 weeks, he came into my office smiling, shoulders straighter. "Doc," he said, "my wife asked if I'd started working out. I haven't, but I feel like I could." That's what restoration looks like. Not overnight transformation, but the gradual return of color, energy, rhythm. A reawakening that begins in the blood vessels and radiates outward. Because when your circulation improves, your whole life begins to feel more possible again. Now here's where it all starts to come together, and why this goes far beyond intimacy. Better circulation isn't just about intimacy. It affects how you age. It protects your brain, your muscles, your independence. Good blood flow means more oxygen to your cells, better removal of waste, stronger immunity, sharper memory, better digestion. It means you walk into rooms with presence. You participate in life, not just witness it. You might not expect this next part, but it might be the most powerful shift of all. The choices you make in your first hour of the day matter more than almost anything else. When you wake up, your body is in a highly absorbent, responsive state. Your blood sugar is low. Your nervous system is transitioning from rest to action. It's the ideal time to feed it something that supports, not stresses it. So tomorrow, instead of coffee and toast, try this. Start with water, at least 8 ounces. Then, drink your pomegranate juice. Give it 30 to 60 minutes to work its way into your bloodstream. After that, eat something that supports your vascular health. Maybe eggs for choline and B12. Maybe oats with chia seeds to lower cholesterol and support nitric oxide. But whatever you do, let the first thing you give your body be something that honors it. That's the real shift. Because too many men over 60 are skipping breakfast, or worse, grabbing sugary cereal, donuts, or processed snacks that actively damage their arteries. And then they wonder why their legs feel heavy by noon, or why their confidence has quietly faded. You don't need more pills. You need better fuel. Still wondering if it's too late? Let me tell you about Frank, age 74. I've worked with men in their 70s, even 80s, who thought they were past the point of change. But the moment they committed to a different kind of morning, one filled with purpose, intention, and nourishment, everything shifted. One man, Frank, was 74. He started with pomegranate juice and eggs. That's it. Within 10 days, his wife told me she noticed he was sleeping deeper, walking taller, and smiling more often. She didn't know what he was doing, but she knew it was working. That's the ripple effect. A better morning becomes a better afternoon. More energy to go outside, more strength to move your body, better mood, more connection, deeper rest. And before long, you're not just managing age, you're thriving in it. So here's your action plan. Tonight, buy the juice or the fruit, whatever feels easiest. Tomorrow morning, drink 8 ounces within the first hour of waking. Do it before coffee. Do it before excuses. And stick with it. Not for a day, not for a week, but for 4 weeks. That's when the shift happens. That's when blood vessels soften. That's when your nervous system begins to trust again. That's when your energy returns, not like a firework, but like a sunrise, slow, steady, inevitable. And one more thing. Pomegranate juice isn't a magic bullet. It's a signal, a symbol, a way to say, I'm not giving up. I still care. I still want to feel alive. And when you start each day with that kind of intention, your body listens, your spirit responds, and the parts of you that felt far away begin to return. Because aging doesn't mean fading. It means adapting. It means learning to nourish what remains and discovering that, often, it's more than enough. Let's take a moment to step back and look at the big picture, because what we've talked about here today isn't just about a fruit or a morning habit. It's about reclaiming control over your body, your energy, and your connection to life itself. The research on pomegranate is not a trend. It's not hype. It's a quiet revolution backed by science, supported by stories, and lived out by men who chose to say, I'm not done yet. This isn't some exotic, hard-to-pronounce supplement. This is a whole natural food you can find at nearly every grocery store in America. It doesn't require a prescription. It doesn't come with side effects. It comes with seeds of healing, of circulation, of change. And make no mistake, your cardiovascular system has been waiting for this. Your heart, your arteries, your intimate health, they've all been waiting for you to show up again, to treat them not as burdens, but as the living system that still wants to thrive. And now you know exactly how to do that. Not through force, not through shortcuts, but through nourishment, through rhythm, through choosing something that works with your body instead of against it. And the truth is, this isn't just about blood flow. It's about energy, confidence, self-worth. That moment when you wake up and don't dread the day ahead. That moment when you move through the world with clarity, balance, and ease. That moment when you feel present, not just in your body, but in your relationship, in your purpose, in your sense of manhood. Because let's face it, for too long, men over 60 have been told that this is just how it is, that slowing down is inevitable, that intimacy fades, that performance declines, that vitality slips away. But what if it doesn't have to? What if your body is still capable of surprising you? That's what pomegranate juice reminds us, that what we believed was gone may have only been sleeping. That the fire might not be out, it may just need fuel. And now you know exactly where to find that fuel, not in a bottle of pills, not in a flashy commercial, but in a glass of crimson juice, in the seeds of a strange-looking fruit, in a morning routine that quietly rebuilds the strength that time tried to take away. So, if no one's reminded you lately, let me be the one to say it clearly. You're not too old, you're not too far gone, and this, whatever you're facing right now, isn't the end. There is more life waiting for you, more energy, more connection, more mornings that begin with strength instead of stiffness. But that change only happens if you act. Knowledge alone is never enough. What matters is what you choose to do with it. Start simple. Tomorrow morning, pour the juice. Drink the full 8 ounces. Eat the fruit. Let that small act become a habit. Let your mornings become a time to invest in yourself, in your circulation, in the quality of your days, because how you start your morning shapes everything that follows. This isn't just about physical performance. It's about how you show up in your own life, how present you feel with the people who still love you, how confident you are in the body that's carried you this far. You're not just drinking juice. You're reclaiming the strength to take walks with your partner, to run around with your grandkids, to sit down at the end of the day and feel like yourself again. That's not a luxury, it's what you deserve. To feel alive, to love without hesitation, to age with power and presence. So let this be your new beginning, a return to vitality, to connection, to the version of yourself that's been waiting underneath the fatigue and frustration. Pomegranate is just the first step. The rest is yours to take. This is Dr. Maya Kapoor, and if this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Click like, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who needs a reminder that aging doesn't mean giving up. It means showing up differently and more intentionally. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.